Sorry, welcome. I just realized that I am on mute, and you know what? Technical difficulties all the time. Welcome to TorontoJS presents International Women's Day with Women Techmaker Ambassadors. We are a Toronto-based technology community that we focus mainly on JavaScript, but also all the challenge, as well as what we hope to see in the future, and what are some of the things that we could do to better provide more solutions to the topic. So that being said, I do want to let you know that the chat is open, so keep chatting. Ask any questions you may have. This is a collaboration with Latin America, so you will see audiences speaking in more than English. And we have we have volunteers who I am grateful for in the chat to translate those conversations for us. Today's session and for this event, it's going to be conducted in English. So hopefully you can enjoy and understand everything that's within these talks. I do want to let you know about the code of conduct for TorontoJS. This is very important to us. In this community, we respect one another, as I mentioned before, and we want to make sure everyone have a safe space to carry on a conversation. So please do respect one another. If you see a problem, do make sure that you check out that code of conduct. You can report any incidents if you are witnessing something. Again, our friendly volunteers in the chat space will also be able to help you as well. Okay, and moving on to what's going on during this next 90 minutes, we are also going to draw random prizes. And like I said, with the collaboration of Women Techmakers, we are happy to provide you with an education program donation of your choice, and up to $50 US, an online course of your choice. And it's also under the US dollar. And there is Platzi, which is a Latin American platform education program that you could also pick as your prize. And last but not least, a Google Nest Mini. So during these random draws, we will ask you whichever one you would like, and one of our volunteers will reach out to you to with an email that you can contact with. But again, that will come, and all the information will come to you. If you have any question, the volunteers in the chat will be able to assist you. All right, let's get this started. I would like to introduce Giuliana from Women Techmaker Argentina to introduce herself.
Again, muted. Hi everyone, thank you for being here today. It has been very special for us to be part of this day. Thank you TorontoJS for hosting us, and International Women's Day. It's a very special moment for Women Techmakers as well, because it's very special moment for women in tech to progress in this world that we all have issues, I think, for a long time, and it's we want to really talk about it, but we also want to move forward with it. So I'm Giuliana. I'm a woman techmaker from Argentina, and let's get started.
And yes, as I mentioned, I am Sherry. I am a Women Techmaker Ambassador from based in Canada. I support communities in North America, and I am one of the organizing lead for TorontoJS. And I'm really proud to introduce today's topic is Women in Tech Challenges. So let's talk about what's the current situation in women in tech. And for those of you who are not understanding why there is a difference between women in tech or men in tech is that there is a true fact that there is a gender gap within the space. Currently, women only represent less than 20% in the space, and we are trying very hard to really push that dial, move that dial to make sure we are creating a space for more diversity, and not just women, more underrepresented groups in the space as well. So I would like to share some of my background in terms of getting into tech. I'm a Taiwanese Canadian who is an immigrant to Canada. And for me, exploring technology was something that I was not directly told to do, but more of a exploration for myself. I had typical Asian parents who wanted me to become a doctor, yet another doctor, and I wanted to do that as well. So I got into university studying biology, and I fell out of love with biology. um, I love the topic. I just didn't enjoy it as much as I would like to when I was actually studying the subject. So I started to explore other things. My dad is a mechanic, so he's influenced for me to become a maker was such a huge thing. So that sort of upbringing gives me that energy to explore tech in more space, even though none of my parents are technologists or people in tech. And that sort of is like the space where I came from in terms of getting into technology. Juliana, how did you get into technology?
Again, I need to stop silencing my microphone. I'm sorry if this happens a couple of times, but I do have a puppy in my house which might bark at a time. So I don't want to that happen a lot of times. Um, that happened to me as well. I am from a multicultural background, so I am originally I am Italian, but my family it's multicultural, and my family wanted me to start with a very high end career. My dad is an engineer, so I kind of wanted to go with his behind his footsteps. We are all women in the family, and so he's like, "Oh no, all women. Who's gonna be my legacy?" So I went into engineering, and while I was in the industry, like I came to Argentina because of an internship, and I just started in the startup world and just realized that in the business, I ended up being going through the startup world. I just fell in love with the tech world and became I got into specialization in data science, and then going forward, I got into human interaction design, and then I just fell in love with technology and just then stay there, and that's where I'm here.
Even though your parents are not encouraging, and I'm sad to say, like I actually didn't tell my parents that I was going into tech until I graduated. So it was a very interesting story, let me tell you. But it's not today's focus for sure.
They don't even know what I do. Like seriously, they don't even know what I do. Like my my family right now, like even if I tell them that I'm having like these conferences, they're like, "What are you gonna talk about? Like, what is it that you do?" I'm like, "Okay, never mind."
Yeah, so like there's like that um I feel like definitely aligning on culture, like you and I, even though we have completely different backgrounds, our culture sort of upbringing of our like our parents are not are not really encouraging us to become someone who is um like who's breaking the boundary, who's breaking the bias really, because what they envision as a technologist is or engineer is very different from what we see as possibility. So that's why I sort of stuck with it because I found it interesting and I don't see why I can't do it. So I kept going. In terms of like that pivotal point of where I find technology being tricky, is the fact that when I am by trade a software engineer, so for me and software developer, in the beginning of my career, I actually realized that automation can take away people's job. Automation is like something that could significantly make or break someone's role in a company. So I started to be very careful and looking into the ethical part of technology. And that's even something that I am very aware of when it comes to being a creator on the other end. What is your side of your story in terms of your career growth and your path in tech?
Um, for me, it was more about how businesses don't have a purpose. And I think that the purpose for me goes into the user. And I think that the user is not looked into um, what they need and how the user is perceived. Um, they just look at business metrics. That's it. But for me, it's more into okay. So I'm in love with what the data brings, and I transform it. I transform that into okay, data, user experience, user design, data, user design, user experience, user. How can we make better technologies for what we're bringing to society?
Yeah.
And that's what we need, because I mean, if you see today's world, we sell our data to the biggest buyer. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just like that. And so I think that we need to make conscious decisions about what what are we buying and what are we selling. Does that make sense?
for
And
sure.
it needs to go with our principles. And so we as tech makers, we need to think about that as well. So we need to think about okay, what is it that I'm providing the world that needs to go with my standards of today's realities and today's needs and tomorrow's world. So that for me is technology and what I want to work with.
Hmm. I 100% agree with that. And I think it's also important to know like as people in tech, we do want the same thing in terms of like business growth, profits, and technologies that helps people. We bring in different perspective, and that's why it's so important to include all sorts of people on your team. I want to focus a little bit more on in terms of like your growth, like the path of being a woman in tech. How has your experience been so far?
Um, I am a woman I mean, it's not only I am a woman in tech. So let me give you a little more perspective on I am a woman in tech, but I am a single mom woman in tech with a disability. So it's not a disability per se, but it's an invisible illness, so which counts as a disability. So you have three points there that just like makes you um, just crash in the tech world that are really hard to deal with there. For me, it was just like battling in a I don't know, in a constant jungle of opportunities that weren't there for me. So I started to create my own opportunities. I started to become an entrepreneur. Um, Also, I started to create, I don't know, programs for people that needed mentorship. I think I was very thankful to being able to see communities like women Techmakers, because I saw that there were other women that were in the same position. Um, but it's really hard to navigate the technology world as a woman. Imagine as the rest of my other position, that it's really hard to get into as well. But you just need to focus on what you want and persist. And I kept growing. Like, okay, this is what I want. What else do I need to learn to get there? What else do I need to grow into to become what I want? Uh, let I don't want to let my gender, my status to determine who I am. I just want to go there and end up where I want to be. So yes, it's very difficult. Yes. Will there be a lot of um, badges on the road that won't let you get there? Yes. But you'll just have to find a way. For me, it was maybe becoming an entrepreneur at first. Okay. Being independent, be freelancer. Okay, maybe that will be the first steps. But getting those little steps will lead you where you want to be. Because at the end of the day, you'll just have to find your own solution to where you want to go. But yes, it's really hard.
Yeah, I'm hearing it's challenging, but you still keep on going. Like it's a good fight to be in. I agree. I also see I love the fact that you bring up intersectionality. It is really important in the space because we are in a world that is intertwined with a lot of things, right? And I love to hear, and I am reading the chat for those of you who are in the chat. Shout out to Brazil, Canada, and like all these amazing countries that is in the chat. We have people from Hungary, like that's amazing. So if you have any live, like your side of the story, please do share in the chat, and I am reading. Or if you have any question that you would like to ask us about our background, feel free to do so as well. Um, I resonate with the intersectionality part because for me it's the same, even though not in the same like layers you have, but I also have multiple layers, right? And that is the part that I see that we need to push more changes within the industry. I have a lot of there's still a lot of challenges for recruitment because of education. First of all, education, um, raised by name, like raised by name, just by name, you can be judged as or being stereotyped as a race. And that is something that we still are in the process of trying to figure out. And there these underlying biases does make a judgment call for those who are interviewing. um, I I know that there's lots of story out there that that shows a lot about um, people who feel underrepresented or feel misrepresented in the space, and that they're often being picked out for those stereotypes. Um, what are your thoughts on that, Giuliana?
I'm sorry, Sherry.
So
I
for
was
those
reading the comments.
Yeah, for those who perhaps fit into a stereotype, like me,
Mhm.
my appearance is Asian. People would expect me speaking English with an accent. Also expect me to be an accountant. or a designer, whatever you may. And so what are some of those stereotype or biases in your world that you see that is like giving women in tech a lot of challenges?
Oh, I mean, I think that I'm a very, for example, me, I'm a very petite and very, I have a, physically, I have a very, also physically stereotype that when I'm gonna give you a precise example. I once went to get a grant for a product that I created, data product that I created. And just because of my appearance, and the panel was only, the jurors were all men. And they were like, you created this? You made this? Yes. You? Yes. And just makes you think like, why? Because I look like a woman, like this, like I dress up like I don't know, because I don't, maybe what is the appearance of a tech woman should be? I don't, which is something that I still sometimes I think about, like, how should we look like?
We should look like whatever we want to.
Exactly. Like this is something that I really ask myself every day, and I encourage everyone in the chat here, and encourage you every day to ask yourself, what is the stereotype that people in this industry should look like to be part of the industry? Because right now, and it's not only a gender problem, it's a stereotype problem, and it has to do with technology right now, that the experience of some technologies right now, it's because of this stereotype that we're having also on human resources as well. So my question is, what is it that we're projecting as tech people that we're having also doing, as well as technologies that we're putting out as well? So it's a double standard that we have to change.
Yeah, I agree. And for those who are in the LGBTQ plus communities as well, I understand, and like it's really hard to find a safe space that you feel that it's okay to identify yourself. Um, More and more companies are more inclusive in that space and are intentionally creating culture and groups to support the LGBTQ plus space. And I think that effort needs to be more intentional because, you know, yes, I in living in North America, living in Canada, I feel very safe most of the time. I feel very safe to identify myself, whatever it is of my preference. I think um, it's not the same when we're in work because it's a professional environment. It's hard to navigate to know who you're working with and what that culture is like. So it's very important for companies for tech companies to be intentional on creating that community, identify how do they get access to those groups, so that it is there apparent for everyone to see and for anyone to feel okay to access them. And that is like one thing that I would definitely encourage companies out there to do, is to make intentional space for those who may feel uneasy to share their personal information.
Yes, and also to and I think that if you are and I don't want to be rude about this comment, but I want to mention this because I think it's very important. If you are a male in the tech industry, I urge you to look at your workspace and see how is diversity placed in this company that I'm working for. Because what I've seen so far is that some people measure their diversity in no, but it's okay because for example in the IT, okay, we have more men, but in human resources it balances out because there are more women. No, it doesn't balance out. That's not balance. We go to the same, it's there, you can see it there. Why are more women in human resources or in other areas rather than IT? That is that you can see right there. That is the problem in your company. You're not balancing out the problem. You're seeing it right in front of your eyes. So I urge you to see and to try to make a change if you can, by any means of your own, if you can and if you want to. But those are the little changes that we might actually take action on. I see that some people never had, for example, I've seen in the chat that some people never felt excluded, and I congratulate you, and I feel so happy for you. But in the reality is that a lot of us, and especially a lot of us that we've dealt with intersectionality issues, have. And those are, it's not only a gender issue, it's more of an intersectionality issue that we need to start focusing on, because it goes further than that.
Yeah, and also in the chat, we're talking about diversity hire. How do we bring up diversity issues at work? Um, news flash, tomorrow we're going to talk about the invisible ceiling is not only for women. So that is a great segue into it.
Yeah.
Sign up for tomorrow's talk. We're going to talk more about diversity at work, raising that invisible ceiling for everyone, or even breaking the ceiling for everyone. But the fact is, recruitments are trying in North America, and I can only speak for North America because I've worked in the space within North America. That I know there are HR effort into like filtering all the resume to make them genderless, raceless for the hiring managers. So when an hiring manager get a stack of the resume physically, just kidding, get the resume, they have no name, no gender, and some of them actually will intentionally take out education, just so that it can rule out any biases that's going to be taken on the recruited talent. So that for me is an effort and an intentional effort to make sure they can hire the right person for the right role. My previous manager in apply research told me, when I always ask him like, hey, why can we hire more women? I want to see more people like me in the lab. But he was like, Sherry, I only want to hire the right person for the right role. I agree with that. But I also wanted to know more why all the application that's coming in is all men. So yes, it is an effort to change from the recruitment part. Yes, it is an effort to change even from the training, like the schooling and even the parenting part. It's important for us to be aware, like we do need to like push the boundary harder when it comes to like early training and creating the mindset of like, it is possible for you to become a technologist or a software engineer or um, data scientist. Like those roles are possible for you. And I think that is definitely changing in North America. Juliana,
Well,
how has it
that's
been?
not happening here. At least not yet.
Tell me
I would
more.
I would love to hear later on the Q&A from people from Latin America to see if that happens as well in other countries. But I've had the horrible situations of being asked in the interviews previous from my skills questions of who takes care of your child while you're in the workplace? Where is the father of your child? Or if your child gets sick, who takes care of your child? Or what what why are you a single mother, for example? I mean, stuff like very personal questions about my uh, personal status with my single motherhood, um, which shouldn't happen because you see my skill sets, you know what I can do. So why are you asking me? And if I'm there in the interview, like if I'm there, why are you asking me where is my child at that moment? Because at the end of the day, there is somebody taking care of my child. So that person will take care of my child while I'm working as well. So, and also because my nationality is from another place, like I'm Italian and I live in Argentina. They're also asking me, where does your family live? Like
Yeah,
if that matters.
exactly. And that goes to show like some culture do get very personal in terms of hiring. And in Canada, I can speak for is that it is illegal to ask personal questions that is not related to the skill set. So I can't speak the same for some states in the U.S. But I do know in Canada it is illegal to ask personal question that is not related to the work.
Mm.
And as people in tech, we our my marital status has nothing to do with how well I code, or how clean I deliver a PR. So yeah, I wonder the same. And this culture still persists in Asia as well. And I have many friends who are in Asia who's telling me their side of the story that Sherry, you will not survive a day in the professional life in,
Uh,
in Taiwan. And I'm like, you know what? I get you.
no, but this also happens in Italy, and my sister, like, every time, I luckily now I get to work at an amazing place where uh, I never got asked any of this, never, and it just became like the fact that I'm a single woman, a single mom woman in tech, that I have a disability, that I come from a diverse cultural background. It actually they empower that, and they want me to empower other women with this, and like I just feel very blessed because of this and working in this very cultural diverse uh, company, tech company, that really I feel very proud now. um, but for example, my family, they just like they tell me, whenever you go to an interview, don't mention that you're a mom, don't mention that you have a disability. Like, don't even say that you have a disease, please. Like, never talk about your disease. Never say that you feel sick. Like, that's how my family thinks, you know. And I live here in Argentina, and they're still like they live in Italy, you know. So it's still very on their mindset that there are problems in human resources and there are biases in human resources for jobs. And it's not only in the tech industry. Let's talk about the job industry.
Mm-hmm. And I do want to let folks that is in the session know, like, you can say no, even though it is a question that is okay maybe in that culture to ask, but you can still say no. I want you, all of you, to know people in tech are very hot in demand. So with your skill set, you will be able to find a job, especially in this work from home culture being very popularized. You will
Yes.
be able to find a job. So don't undermine or answer a question that you don't feel comfortable of, and be okay to say no. Walk away. I know in the chat someone mentioned, like, even in like not interview but in networking, people are asking them personal questions. Walk away. That network, that connection is not worth your while.
Red flags. Red flags.
Yes, red flag. And like, really, like, for you to notice, like, that, like, you at on the spot you feel uncomfortable, say no to it and just politely, respectfully exit the interview. That's it. Like, I mean, it's their loss, is not your loss, because you don't want to be involved in more of that culture. Because if they can do that within an interview, it's likely that there's going to be more and more of that within the company, within the team that you're with. So let yourself know that you are a hot commodity in this space. please don't please don't say yes to anything, and there will be opportunity that comes and that will suit you for you.
Yes, and I agree completely with Sherry. And today, and like she said, there is a time and period in history where things have changed. Today's world, we got the opportunity for our industry, which is the tech industry, to make a change. Remote work made this possible for us to say, hey, yeah, I see a red flag and I can choose where I want to work. And there are opportunities for us where we get to show our skills rather than our how we look like or how we are perceived as. And that's where, yes, we're
Yes,
hot.
we are
We're
hot.
hot. I love that comment. Yes, we're hot. Let's spin that. Yes, we are hot and we're in demand. And we should look for that. And there is a community. Yes. And we're in high demand for remote job. Our skills right now are demanding. We're high in demand for remote jobs, and we don't need. Nobody needs to know how we look like. They just need to know what our skills are, and that's the only thing they need to know. So look for that, because now the it's a boundaryless not experience, but it's a boundaryless world right now for us of opportunities.
Yeah, and Juliana and I connect through Women Techmaker Ambassador programs, and that is what we really call like finding your community, finding your people. There are a lot of communities out there, like TorontoJS, which is a group of just fantastic people. I can say more about them, but they are accepting, the organizers accepting. At the same time, if you find more comfortable to be with a group of just women, you can find those communities as well. If you find more comfortable with only LGBTQ plus folks who understand where you're coming from, that's also okay, and those communities do exist in the tech space. And like, and whatever language flavor you're into, there's always a community for that. The thing about the internet is that we create our own special corners, and that is something that you will be able to find in the tech space for sure.
And
That
also, and I'm sorry, but I want to add to that there is something really important to know, that maybe we didn't grow up with a lot of role models to look up to, and maybe we didn't have mentors by our sides, but we have right now these communities, these spaces for us to find one. If you don't, look at your right, look at your left, look at these communities, find one. It's your moment to look at who you need to by your side and say, can you help me? I need maybe just a little bit of, and it's just not only women, it's the whole rainbow of culturally diverse, racially LGBTQ. I mean, everyone, even men, need a little bit of mentorship. Because, for example, there is a little bit of not existential crisis, but there is also the I don't know if I can make it in every one of us, and it's up to you to find your sidekick through the process and say, can you help me out? And the communities are just as part of it as the industry, as the job, as everywhere, as high as you want to get. So just find your spot.
Yeah, and like we are making the space better day by day. Any effort, and just like Juliana alluded in the beginning, it's like this is a fight that is worth fighting for, and we keep going. Because we do find the topic interesting, we do find the industry, and we want to keep working on it. So for that, being involved in the space also involved into our effort to create that fantastic environment for ourselves and for others who are like us. So it's really important to create that space around yourself and making sure like you are raising each other up in terms of recognize each other's accomplishment, being able to recognize someone and shine some spotlight on them, giving them the opportunity to share that knowledge with one another. Yeah, mentorship and allyship. Like, yes, men should really step out of their comfort zone and reach out to other people who needs help and ask them, what can I help? How can I
Yes.
help? Um, and maybe not in that complete direct sense, but starting with like, I recognize that you're struggling, or I recognize that this is what's happening. Can I be at any help? I think those intentional asks will get you a long way in terms of having that mentorship, having that allyship created. And we as underrepresented group needs that constant support. We want to see more people like us who is in the leadership role, but we can't get there just to wave our arms around and be like, here I am, hi, pick me, choose me. It's not going to work that way. It's just not going to work that way. Yes, making noise is great, but having support from another side, having support from the whole industry is what we need to do. And we need to do this together. This is the women in tech challenges cannot be done just by women. It has to be done by the collective community.
Yeah.
And yeah, going back to TorontoJS, I I didn't think that it was a space with a lot of diversity when I first joined, but the more I get to know it, it was becoming more diverse than I ever could imagine. And I think it comes because like that effort sort of pushed forward because I was there to initialize effort to change. I was there to let them know I want more stuff done so that I could be at show up as a representation for any other people. And that is my own effort to really push the boundary for that. And I encourage you, if you can, if you may, please do so for other people as well, because you showing up as a role model and you just showing up, your face on Meetup is something for someone to click the button to join, because they see differences, they see a representation, and they want to be there. And that is my intention, to bring the communities together, to have more diversity in the spaces. Like, I know that someone is afraid, and I have been in that space. I've actually personally didn't attend any networking session for years until I feel comfortable to go to like one that is hosted by a male organizer. It took me a long time to really push that, because I was just like, what am I going to do? I know. And right now you can see all the attendance, right? Like, I know everyone that's going to be at this meetup is going to be, man, what am I going to do? And that is my first challenge. It's not like, do I know the code? Do I know the language? It's more like, what am I supposed to do in that awkward space to just show up and network? And that, for some people, would probably, like, I am an outgoing person. I can connect with anyone now, but back then it was definitely a challenge for me. So just moving the effort into like creating a safe space for anyone is really important to build that community.
Yes, I agree. Actually, I just opened the first cloud community here in the only not the first, the only community, the only GDG cloud right now here in Argentina, and I'm the organizer. Which I hope there will be other diversity organizer within the community. But what I'm hoping is that I want to create just what you just said. I want this not only to be a community for men, as it has been for a long time. I want people to connect. I want people to really women Techmakers, GDGs, other communities. I want everybody to really try to see that there is a space for all of us in technology, a community for all of us in technology, to keep upskilling, to keep learning, to just like, okay, let's get together and learn within us. Mark is saying that his university has a research group. Here it is. Okay, to have women collaborate with you, invite them and say that it's a safe space. I guess it is. There is a need to get women to understand that that communities are a safe and open space for everyone. I think. What do you think, Sherry? For me, the most important thing is to say that communities, tech communities, are safe spaces for everyone.
Yeah, that's a really good starting point for sure, to make sure it's a safe space for anyone. But at the same time, Mark, I would definitely encourage you to take a look at what are you researching, because women tend to, and this is not, yes, this is stereotyping, but women do tend to like more initiative that is impactful for the society, social goods, environmental goods, anything that has to do with people. Now, if it is raw, robotic, industrial type of research, yes, you will get buy-ins from women as well, but the application there will be lesser, because we weren't groomed to be that way. And again, Mark, it's not your fault. is how we were brought up, right? But if you have a selection of research topic and you're sharing all those different kinds of research topic, that is going to give you different applicants and different involvement of more women to collaborate with. So that's that would be like my initiative to change that.
I will add to that, maybe just try to mix such hard skills with soft skilling as well, and maybe you would get a mix of both, and it will help also the not only women to be more involved, but men also need soft skilling right now that are not really present in such communities that always showcase very technical upskilling events. So I think doing both would be a great opportunity to just like diversify your group.
I know we're like almost at the hour and we haven't done any prizes, so should we do one?
Yes!
We should do one, right? Let me see if I could do this correctly. Because alrighty. Let me see if I could do this correctly because okay. I'm just gonna go for it. I have a bunch of registrant from the meetup group. So if I get a name and you are live here, that's all I care for. But if I can get any names and I can get any people who are currently live at this moment, then I will probably just, I don't know, close my eyes and scroll up and down to and then see if I hit a name. Do we have a Mayara Mendez de Sosa? And I understand, like a virtual sign up, I can't things happen in your life and you can't show up and that's okay. Okay, so it doesn't look like we have this person. So I'm going to try this again. I feel like I need like a game show song. Melissa Quinones. Quinones? Do we have a Melissa? Do we have a Melissa Quinones? Yeah, we're just shouting out to people. And it's okay. I mean, if it doesn't work, because I'm going with the attendees who registered, but I do want to have a live audience on these prize draws, because for those who are involved in the chat, it's great to see you here. All right. Okay, let's try something else. I am literally going to just scroll up and down, and then Giuliana, you're going to tell me when to stop, and that's where my mouse will end.
Cool.
Okay, go. When?
Stop.
Tell me. Okay, I have Vinicius Henrique. Someone win, please. This is the name that I stopped at. Oh, yes. Amazing, you're here. I'm sorry if I did not say your name correctly, but you have won. Please send your details to the organizer email at TorontoJS. We will get in touch with you. Please keep in mind, take this screenshot, email here, and we will give you more details.
Vinicius, where are you from?
Yeah, where are you from? Let's give you a shout out. But I do want to remind y'all that our prize today is whatever donation you would like to an education program or an online course of your selection, or an actual physical Google Nest Mini. These are, we from TorontoJS, we want to make sure you have an educational experience from us. So this is the approach that we're going with. And if you are a
Go Brazil! I'm sorry.
Yes. If you're a non-English speaker, no, localhost 8080, no. If you're a non-English speaker, you will be able to access courses in your language as well.
Yes, and I need to, sorry, Sherry, but the courses are from Domestika, which
yeah.
Brazil.
I am going to, let's do another draw. How about we do another draw? I feel like we're going on a roll here. And I'm going to only going for the chat. So if you're someone here and you haven't made any noise in the chat, say something. It is going to be $50 US dollar. So say something in the chat, whatever it is. Give us a shout out. And I am going to scroll again. So tell me when, Giuliana.
When?
Okay, I have. What did I say again? What did I say it again?
What?
I left. It's on what did I say again? Username. What did I say again?
She was what did I say? You were really active, so I'm really happy.
That's you.
That's you.
Yes, thank you so much. Please do identify yourself via the email that we have, organizers@torontojs.com. That's amazing. Yes, thank you, but I don't know who you are. I hope to identify you soon.
And where are you from also?
Yeah, where are you from? Or you can tell me, or whatever. You don't have to identify.
Yes, you don't have to identify, but we would like to know where you're from. And Richmond Hill.
Amazing.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
And also, I would like to, if anybody wants to say anything or give a shout out on this event on Twitter, I would love to know which part of this event was your favorite on Twitter. This is something that I would love to know, and just tag the event and tag TorontoJS and Women Techmakers and Sherry and I.
Yes, please do so. Yes, so that please do know that you have to identify yourself by sending TorontoJS your legit URL, including your to your YouTube channel or Meetup account. So just make sure you identify yourself to TorontoJS with your information that you won. This session is recorded on YouTube, so we will be able to go back and check your ID as well as the person. So yes, one more time on the email, please. It's organizers@torontojs.com. Thank you. That's two. Let's do another one. I think we're on a roll here. Let's do another one. Let's do another one. We have plenty of time. And meanwhile, if you do have any questions, please let us know. So again, here's your chance. Say something in the chat. I'm going to scroll again. And Giuliana is going to tell me when.
When?
I have. Oh, I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce your name. Michelle Alagara. Oh, is the person here? Yes. Is it Michelle? I'm sorry, I just don't know how to say that. Again, please do connect with organizers at TorontoJS.com. Congratulations, you've won.
Where are you from, Michelle?
Yeah, where are you from? Do let us know where you're joining from, and also connect with the organizers at TorontoJS.com. We will be able to relay the prices for you. Again, it's your choice of a donation to an educational program, online course of your choice.
Brazil.
And these are at another Brazil. Oh, wait. Nice. And they are at $50 US currency as your limit, as well as the third one would be Google Nest Mini, if you would like a physical product. All right. Moving on. So, I know that we were talking about, you know, what our future aspiration would like, what we would like to see in terms of women in tech and the space, how we want to improve the space. I think it's important to know, like, yes, there are companies and recruitment who are making intentional effort to change the space, and there are many resources for any unique group or people who feel like they are in a marginalized community have access to all of those groups. So again, if you're someone who is in an underrepresented groups, please go reach out. It's in TorontoJS as well. Reach out to us, ask us all the questions that you may have in terms of finding your people, finding your community. We will be able to share additional resources as well. Women Techmaker has a membership program. So if you were to sign up for Women Techmaker as a member, you will be able to access additional member resources from the program as well, including like a special invite from Google I/O that is coming up very soon in May, and that is something like you have to explore different communities to find your people and be able to find more support in your space, right? So I want to put a focus a little bit on questions. Do we have any questions from the audience about what we've talked about today? I know earlier on there were talks about how to encourage diversity in the space. And yes, we were going to talk deeper about that question tomorrow, but initially it's just like Mark's question to that he was having problem with in terms of gaining more women in the tech like in his research groups. I think one of the things is like be intentional in terms of increasing diversity. If you're someone who is in the recruiting power, either a line manager, a team lead, or anyone who's in recruitment, be intentional in terms of recognizing the like the lack of diversity there is in your company or in your team, and raise your voice about it. My current CTO in the company that I'm with, he always tells the recruitment team that he does not want, and he does not know this, that I'm quoting him, but he quote, "I don't want to hire another man who has a beard and glasses like me." And that is okay, but I think he's trying to allude to the recruitment team, like everyone that is on the talent team selection looks like him, and he wants a little bit different resources. And what the company did was that we partner up with a third party company that works with diversity groups in the tech space. So again, we'll talk more about really changing the space tomorrow, but at the same time there are resources and ways to change the group, like your immediate group, if you are raising your voice to let people know about it and then making the initiative to change. Yes, hashtag progress, not perfection.
Yes, and I would also add hashtag break the bias.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I would add to that and to what you said before. Since we had a lot of people from Brazil, and I want to give a shout out to my Latam community, there are a lot of communities like GDGs and women Techmakers in Brazil that you should look up to. Like once you get into the GDGs, the site, you can see all of the communities that are all around, and just sign up, see what's going on, see what are the events that are going on, and just reach out to the people and talk to them, see what's happening around. But most importantly, to what Sherry just said, see what's happening in your workspace. Like I said before, also where I'm working right now gave me a safe space and goes with what I believe in. Like I work in a company that it has 31 culturally diverse leadership in it. Like this just goes without saying that if you see that, imagine where you are, and that's just what is going to happen in the future, and it works constantly with that. So when since we are hot in the business, go to companies, go work for companies that think that you are hot as well, and don't look at anything else around that.
Mm-hmm. We have some really good questions that's coming up here, and I feel like they do deserve a spotlight. Question from Kareen. What is a good approach to keep up the engagement of women in technology? Do you think that should start when they are kids? Absolutely. As Giuliana and I share, like our upbringing has nothing to do with technology. My dad is a mechanic, a little bit to do with technology, but he never encouraged me to become a tech maker. Like, and from Giuliana, it's like there was a direct like you cannot. um, and I think it's really important coming from parenting. Although I'm not a parent myself, and Giuliana will probably be able to speak more on this, is that I see that it is very important to keep all the options open for the children of the future.
Yes, and I think that education should be open. I think that it starts. It shouldn't be like, hey, let's teach children technology. It's more about, hey, diversity starts in education. I think that for me that's more important than because children now know how to use a cell phone and a computer more than how we used to do it in our when we were their age. I think like I didn't have a smartphone at 9 like my daughter has now, but they're smarter now than we were at their age, I think. So the more important thing is teaching them that they can do whatever they want to do and they are able to do whatever they want to do. So there are no boundaries between genders. It's just lead their way for them to believe that they can do what they want to do, and just don't give them don't expose them to like this is what you should be, rather than how do you feel your future should look like. Because I don't think that and speaking for myself mostly, like I don't think that when you're 13 through 17 you're really like, I'm gonna be a data scientist. Like you'll find your way.
Mm-hmm.
I think you find your way through life and just let them go through that themselves.
Yeah, yes, 100%. In the chat, we have like a good theme on like how do you, you know, curate that comfortable environment for underrepresented groups? How do you inspire them to join the dark? No, join join the technology side, not the dark side, the technology side. How do you inspire underrepresented groups to be interested? And I think curiosity is number one. Intrigue them by curiosity, intrigue them by asking them simple questions and how technology could be involved in those questions and how in terms of solution. um, Now technology is in everywhere. We have the health tech, we have the fintech, we have whatever tech, ed tech is the thing. We have technology from all industries. So it's easier than ever to loop in more conversation, loop in more interest. When you're trying to create the environment for to engage more people in the underrepresented group, you are thinking about what is it that they are interested in, right? If you there are very great groups for data. Sorry, there are very great groups um, in Canada that we focus on civil data, like social data for good, and these are open source to collective data that is available for your location. And with those data, you can create solutions or guides for anyone to use a piece of web application to access those data. And they are on the purpose of like allowing people to understand what data is being collected within your city and what can you do with those information. And essentially, that's what we do as technologists, is that we're exploring data and then we're trying to make them appealing to our audiences and making sure that they're interested in them and gain revenue, change them into products, so on and so forth. So that being said, having like creating the space, you have to first of all know interests and then connect the interest with the technology that's being involved. I am someone who dabbled in a little bit of everything. I like to put my finger in everything, and I know many languages, many frameworks, because I think there is no one tool for all the solution. I believe in a tool belt. If you were to compare the analogy, I like to use a tool belt to solve problems. Um, and I enjoyed using different kind of technology. Ooh, this is also a really good question. How do you stand up for yourself if you feel like you're being harshly judged as a woman? Giuliana, do you want to take this one?
Oh, this is very interesting. Sometimes it depends. I think that it depends. I stand up for myself with my work. Like, that speaks for itself. Sometimes you just let it speak for itself, because that is louder than words. So you just let it go by. And then if you feel really like harassed, by being really judged as a woman, you just need to, whoever is making you feel uncomfortable by being a woman, or whatever is that, your gender or your race or your culture that you're really being judged as. I think that the best way of standing up for yourself is just telling whoever is making you feel that, is asking them why is it that you're uh, like a mirror, because mirroring is really important. Sometimes there's something inside of them that they're not doing their work as good, I think, or there's something inside of them that is just like perception. Make it is sometimes a mirror of what is lacking inside of them, and 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 that is something that is also lacking, and in showing in what is they're doing to you. Does that make sense? I don't know if I made myself clear, but when somebody tells you, like, if you're doing something wrong to somebody, is because there might be something that you're doing that you're not doing yourself. So you're pointing to that person, your misleadings.
Yeah, in terms of like reflect, like I guess like what Juliana is trying to say here is to more like reflect it upon them as well. Like if they're being overly judgy of you being a woman, or what you identify as, then reflect the same thing back to them, and say like, is that a problem for you? Yeah, and like I said before, it's okay to just walk away. It's okay to say
Yes.
no, I don't want to answer this, or this is not okay. Call it out. This is not okay, and peacefully walk away.
Yes, and like I said, sometimes it's just better to, like, not only walk away, but it's just a matter of my job just reflects what I do, and if it's not enough, then sorry, I walk away.
Exactly.
You don't need to come. What did you say again? I mean, what did you say again? It's really a great name. I'm sorry, but what did you say again? You don't need to be and you don't need to come aggressive. You don't. And sometimes that happens to me a lot. Like, sometimes when I'm nervous, like, I even cry. Uh,
It's
you don't
okay
need
to
to. You
cry.
don't need. It's okay. It's super okay to cry. You don't need to come as aggressive. You just need to say no, turn around and say, you know what? I don't need this. Turn around and bye.
Yeah, yeah. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be emotional. Everyone handles their emotions differently, and it's okay. Um, we are in 2022. It's okay, and we are, as a collective human being, have more empathies towards each other now than more than ever, more than
Yes.
ever, and I feel that as well. um there was a question that was being brought up. Can we highlight that one again? Yes, there we go. Gustavo, I have another question. If you could give a warning to beginners in this area in tech, I suppose, what would it be?
Oh, I would love to answer this one because I actually had a mentorship the other day, and if you continue, I mean,
No,
do
go ahead.
not get the imposter syndrome, because there is always a beginning. There will always be a beginning. So, in any career, so all of us feel that there is an imposter syndrome, that, oh my god, am I good enough? How do I get where I want to be? Is this the path that I'm taking? And especially in technology, I don't know if anybody wants to say something about this. There are so many paths in technology to go on to. So when you're a beginner, I think that the best way to go into this is, okay, start where you want to start. Do not be afraid. I know that there are always, okay, junior, mid and senior levels. Just begin. Do not be afraid. Start. And in meanwhile, sometimes there are moments where you say, oh, maybe I like this path better, maybe I like this language better, maybe I like this. There will happen that. But just start. Don't be afraid, because life will take you where you will want to be. Just do not be afraid and just go for it.
I love that. I love that. That's a perfect answer. I'm not adding any more to that. Yeah. Um, okay, another question. Sorry, a question from Jose. How do you feel about inspiring women, and what was it like for you to get into technology into the technology business? That's a really good question. Now I'm trying to rewind my brain. How did I get into it? I actually dabbled a little bit of HTML and CSS back in the MySpace world, and like what is it? Fire Angel. I'm dating myself, but like back in the days when those like little web pages for yourself was a thing. And I played with the code a little bit, and I didn't study computer. And I was like, this is really cool. I get to like make my own space and then like customize it the way I want it. And that's what really triggered me and got me into the interest of like pivoting into technology. Creating solution is one of the biggest like attraction for me in terms of like getting into technology, is because like with technology a lot of things are possible. A lot of things that used to not be possible now are possible, like talking to Giuliana all the way in Argentina.
Yes. And you might not believe this, but we have like these conversations for us are like meetings that were like friend meetings. But for me, inspiring women is, I get inspired by women. So getting inspired by other women gets me to inspire other women. So um, that's it. Like, I see other women that inspire me. So it's just like a circle. It's the circle of life.
Yeah, and like again, it is a good fight that we're fighting for. We are, yes, still having women in tech challenges, but again, hashtag progress not perfection. We are moving the dial for sure. We are moving the dial little by little, and it's women like Giuliana and I and the people who are in chat are just like, and the volunteers in this program, and TorontoJS as a community, Women Techmakers as a community. These are initiatives that keeps us going. These are the communities and effort that keeps us going, because we know that there is movement to change. There is people who care, who wants to stay, who believe in the industry and change to keep going. And I think is really good to believe in yourself, that you're not alone, and you will always find your people in the space, and eventually the path will show up for you and keep growing.
And to add, I want to make a really big point out of this, and this is something that we'll talk about tomorrow, so join us tomorrow as well. But it is not only women in technology. It's not the same for women of a certain women in technology than the intersectionality in technology. So let's keep that in mind, please, because I think that that's the most important thing that we need to work on for today and for the future. I think that is what we have to keep in mind, that for whatever we're trying to work on today has to do with not only women in technology, but all that is considered intersectionality in technology. Sherry is Sherry has different intersectionalities within her profile in technology, as so do I. So we are two women in technology that we have different profiles. And I think that that's the most important thing that we have to keep in mind, that we would like to have, we want to keep moving forward to. And that's what I would like for you to keep in mind, and welcome you to the rest of the other events that we have.
Exactly. So for tomorrow's session, we're going to dive into more about the invisible ceilings, not only for women, and really focusing on intersectionality here. There are challenges not only for women, but also anyone really in the tech space. And we really thank you for being here today, being so involved in the chat, and having a great time with us. Again, remember to register for tomorrow's talk in the description below. You will be able to see it. Connect with us with our social media. Emailed organizers at TorontoJS.com. If you are the winner of the prizes today, congratulations again. It's been a great time. I hope to see all of you again tomorrow. Bye.